You're listening to Served Up, a podcast that features inspiring beverage professionals and topic experts that share their passions through meaningful conversations. I'm your host, Bridget Albert, also known as the Market Fresh Mixologist, an industry mentor with decades of experience. Grab a cocktail and sit back. Let's learn how we can make a positive impact in our industry. Hey, y'all, it's Bridget here. I'm excited to welcome back Kyle Williams and Kamal Carter, the inspiring founders of A Long Talk, for another insightful conversation. Their mission to ensure there's an anti-racist at every dinner table continues to drive meaningful change and foster open dialogue about race and systemic issues within our communities. In this interview, Kyle and Kamal will share updates on their journey, the impact that they're making, and how we can all contribute to creating a more inclusive and equitable society. So sit back, relax, enjoy this conversation, and it really was a pleasure to have them both back. Kyle and Kamal, welcome back to Served Up. I'm really happy that you're on the show today.
We're excited to be here. I mean, just great energy, great chemistry, but Served Up is doing good work, and we love to be in cadence and in sync and step with people doing work, getting in good trouble.
Absolutely. Well, Kamal, let's start off with you just as a refresher. Y'all have been on the show before, but can you give our listeners that might be new to the show what Long Talk is and what is the mission?
Our mission is to put an anti-racist at every dinner table and every bar stool. And we are an anti-racism activation experience. And our goal is to get people to do something, to stand up and to interrupt all types of ignorance. We call it's really a war on ignorance, whether it's sexism, racism, homophobia, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, whatever ableism. Like there's a lot of times as a culture in our country where we are taught to just let people say things in our space that are harmful, hurtful, that are just offensive or just mess up our vibe. And we sit back and we allow this negative energy around us, and we don't have the skill set on how to push back and how to interrupt. And so A Long Talk has for 5 years, we've worked across this country on Zoom, in person, corporations, nonprofits, Catholic priests in Iowa, universities, I mean, you name it, and teaching a skill set on how do we interrupt problematic behavior and problematic statements. And I'll let Kyle kind of elaborate a little bit more just to give you a taste on our journey. But I really oversimplified our process. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, in the same breath, though, it's the interruption of the normalcy, right? The normalcy, whether it's through our language, through policies and practices. But the first step is being able to identify things and being educated about what it is that we're even talking about. And so when Kamal mentioned the war against ignorance, most people in America have no idea the real historical depth that our differences have created in this country. They really don't understand. So as people want to help, you have to truly understand. So you have to first educate yourself. And we have an 80-minute video that gets you from 0 to 100 real quick. Like in terms of the idea that there's information I have in an 80-minute video that can put you in the top 0.1% of everyone in America that understands the truth about American history. It's called The History of Race in America. And so this idea is that first, we just believe that if we can educate to end hate, that if people knew better, they would do better. And a lot of the people that are kind of stuck in the middle when it comes to racism or all these other things Kamal mentioned, they just kind of sit idly by because they haven't been activated intellectually to understand what the problems are. They haven't been taught to recognize it and to start interrupting it. And so whether it's in our conversation, whether it's in our lifestyle, whether it's in the policies of the people we elect, we just don't even see enough or do enough to interrupt the normalcy of white supremacy and racism that's been running through this country for the last 400 years. So we're just looking to connect the dots with people that said, you know what, enough is enough. We see what's going on right in front of us. You don't have to look back in history too far anymore. Like we have to look for people and connect the dots with people that understand the time that we live in, how it connects to the past, and what we need to do right now to make sure we create a different future than the one we're headed to.
Kyle, let's stick with you for just a bit here, because, we talk about the good work that Long Talk's doing, and we're going to link the all of your information in this podcast so listeners can find you. Absolutely. You mentioned just a bit about politically and where we are today from last time I spoke with you all. I feel that things have changed a little bit, not for the good, perhaps in our country. And I just want to know, with the current leadership and with some legislation that's been put out there and some of the harshness that's been put on diversity, equity, and inclusion, have you faced any challenges at a Long Talk that you've had to overcome, or have you seen more people coming into the fold?
The first thing is that this is a sort. It's always been a sort from day one. We're not looking for everybody. We're not looking for people. We want to work with the willing. We're trying to inspire and activate and motivate a nation of networks. It doesn't take everybody. As Kamal said, one anti-racist at every dinner table holds that space down, right? And so we don't need everybody. So on the first level, it's a sort. It's even higher sort right now, which is great for me, because I only want to work with the people that are serious. I don't need everybody. We just need the people that are serious about pushing it through. Now, in terms of how this relates to the current climate, I think, we teach a lot about the history, and we try to connect the dots and open people's eyes. Oh, my God, I can't believe this happened in 1898 or this happened in this. On the first day of the presidency of the current administration, Donald Trump revoked the Civil Rights Act on the first day. That's a bold statement of white supremacy. That's not we don't have to go back anywhere in time. That was done on the first day of the administration. So if you could choose not to believe it, I can't believe it. Or you can say, well, he just did exactly what he said he was going to do. And if people start to see that, I don't need to show you an 80-minute video from the past if you're serious about figuring out what we need to do right now in front of us. So again, for me, it's been another another veil pulled back. Because if you need to see something else, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. That was day one material. Before the lower price of eggs, before anything else happened, that statement was made that this administration is not about anyone other than us. And I say us, meaning basically anyone that doesn't qualify under the Civil Rights Act. So women, Black people, Indigenous people, LGBTQ, all of that stuff. So I'm thankful for the arrogance of the ignorance. It makes it less. I don't want the hidden stuff. So for me, I think the climate has created a space where people have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Do I stay in my ignorance is bliss and act like I didn't see that? But that's right there in front of you. Before you even get to the DEI stuff, which again, we just know is camouflage for all those people that fall under the Civil Rights Act, right? So because you do realize, I think I said this before, we are not even DEI. I'm not a DEI professional. I've never been trained or studied DEI policies or procedures. DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Of our 25,000 people, 90% are white. I'm looking to talk to people that haven't heard this story before. So it's not about diversity. It's about diversity of thought, but it's amongst people that are in positions of power and that need to understand this. I believe equity comes with equality. If you have true equality, equity will flourish. And it's not about inclusion. We're at the point where we're trying to exclude certain ideas and certain beliefs and practices to just go somewhere else. I use the cigarette analogy. We just told cigarette smokers to go over there. That's exclusion. And so we're doing the same thing. If that's what you want to believe, you have the right to believe that, but you need to be out of the politics. You need to be out of the schools. You can take that somewhere else. You need to be out of my space at my dinner table. But so I just want to make it clear for us, we're not DEI, and that's not to knock DEI on any level. It's just to be very clear that, especially in this moment, we're not here for words and verbiage. And that's not what this is about. It's about action. So.
Yeah. And right now is, I think more than ever, it's the time to take action. I always say to step in and to step up.
Absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't take much. It's just to step in and say something. And I remember from our last talk, and I think it was you, Kyle, that even said, just say something, right? Mm-hmm. Just say anything. And, that's always been my advice in any situation, even to my daughter when she doesn't know what to do or say in any situation. It's like, just do something. Don't sit idly by, because then you're part of the problem.
And then the best part, as we're going through our introduction of what a long talk is, mm-hmm. That's exactly what separates us from other stuff. We don't have conversations about what I believe you should see and all. We show the pictures, but we teach the skill to your daughter or to anyone exactly what to step up with. We practice the verbiage. We go into breakout spaces where we teach people when someone says something that you disagree with, whether it's something that's totally ignorant or something you just have a little bit, we're going to teach you how to have a better conversation, to step up and say something as opposed to sitting by like nothing happened and just being a part of it. So the beauty of a long talk is, yes, we're going to teach you that depth we talked about before, but we're also going to teach you the skill set. When you finish working with us in our sessions, you're going to be able to walk out the door and interrupt all types of ignorance, racism, sexism, homophobia, or just someone saying something just without critical thinking, without any thought for other people. Because sometimes we just say hurtful things in general, or not even hurtful, just that are problematic in nature, that don't lead to a more positive future for us. And we have to learn how to start curbing that conversation a little bit better. And that's the skill that we teach called the CPR protocol, where you can literally become certified to interrupt ignorance and be able to change conversations in whatever space you're in, your dinner table, your office, your book club at church.
Yeah, that's amazing. Kamal, let's bring it over to you for a moment. You know, for someone that's not familiar with a long talk, can you kind of take them through the process of what it looks like? You know, let's say that you've really piqued some interest. I know that you will, of our listeners. You know, how do they find you? What would it look like to participate in your program? And what will they experience throughout the day? Like, is it over the course of an hour? Is it a day? Is it 3 days? You know, really kind of lay out what the expectation is.
Yeah. So we have the way that our conversation is broken into or divided into. It's a 21-day activation experience. So it's designed so that you just don't show up and people aren't saying, teach me something. We want people to kind of take time and prepare for the conversation, to have questions, to engage. So we have a virtual platform, and people can just go to our website at alongtalk.com. And every month we have a conversation that they can sign up. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's for 2 hours from 7 to 9 p.m. It's on Zoom. And people have the ability to do our part 1 and our part 2 session. Now, we have them a week apart because we want to make sure there's a chance to kind of reflect, to digest, and to prepare for the second week. But here's how it would happen. I would go to alongtalk.com. Currently in our columns, they would see take a seat at the table of change. Just click on that and just pick which date or which conversation you want to be a part of. If it's April's conversation, you're putting your information there, and we'll send you a link to a virtual classroom. Now, this is important, Bridget, because again, we're not showing up with slides and a presentation, and that's not what this is. This is a honest conversation. We want to remove the barriers. We've been taught to walk around on eggshells, and it's so interesting. I was in a conversation yesterday, and I saw with my own eyes. We've been taught literally, you all, and some of your listeners might even feel this or recollect this happening to them. People get to a conversation, they're talking about it, and they're saying, you know, and when they get to the word, it was a black person. They whisper the word, or it was a white person. Like, why? Like, people don't say black or white. It's like we've been taught these eggshells that if we say black, someone's going to jump out the sky. Or if someone says white, someone's going to jump out the sky. So part of our building a virtual platform and engaging in pre-work is getting people to remove these barriers that we've been raised to, like, whisper the word, sometimes black and white. And so people will set up their login information, and we call our Long Talk Universe. And every single day, there's a 3-5 minute activity that they can do. If it's a video, if it's a playlist, there's a whole onboarding process to kind of demystify this conversation. And it's for us, as Kyle mentioned, that 80-minute video, the History of Race in America video, we ask every participant to watch that because we've all had bits and pieces of this or half truths or misinformation, but we want to make sure that there's a kind of like a leveling up or everyone starts from the same point, or people have questions, or they can watch this video and come in and on day one, just engage in this conversation and take away the mystique behind how we got here. So that's the process. It's a seamless process. This 21-day activation and it's self-paced. It's not like you have to turn in every single homework assignment on time. No, the most important thing is watching the History of Race in America video, and then join us on Zoom for a 2-hour session, our part 1 session. We want to talk about our shared American history and just how we got here but it's a conversation. So we have slides. but people are able to talk and share and bring in their perspective. So each one's unique. So that for me and to our listeners out there, I would say that just find the time, log into our website. And this is for anyone across the country. Obviously, our packages for corporations, for nonprofits, for universities. We can actually build a platform for you and for your specific entity. We could come up with times and pacings that work for your schedule. But this is for anyone around the world that is not, being sponsored by a corporation or that's not participating, through an entity that has actually engaged in a business contract with us. This is just every month we want to activate anyone in the world. Come join us, right? So that's the first part, is that 2-hour session is Foundation, Unpacking Our Truth. We talk about our shared American history, our current reality. And then our second 2-hour session a week later is where we're going to get into what Kyle talked about. How do we teach this skill set where we can go into breakout groups and practice and so we're not caught off guard. Sometimes people say things and we're like, I can't believe they said that. I wish I had we don't have to have the perfect, response. We don't have to have on the perfect t-shirt. When we practice and we teach this skill set, it becomes a reflex eventually. The goal is, okay, here's something that's awkward, is new. I don't want to be the silent bystander, but I want to learn how to do this. I'm not trying to we liken it to conversations versus confrontation. And so we can teach and empower people to interrupt and practice this skill set. They're ready the next time someone makes a problematic statement. So, and I oversimplified our process, but just our website has all the information. These 2-hour sessions have been life-changing. And the feedback we've received from individuals from all over, it doesn't matter, north, south, east, west. It's been life-changing for a lot of individuals.
Yeah. I mean, just, the work that you're doing is incredibly important. And I think today it's really become just so, I have no other word. It's just really important to start changing some lives and making some things not cool, not okay to do. Kyle, let's talk about some things that Long Talk has been up to since the last time I spoke with you all. It's been probably about 1.5 years or so. I would love to hear about the journey. Have things changed? Have things evolved? Have you found an outer reach of some new, interesting folks to chat with? Like, what's been going on?
Yeah, I can tell you right now, the most exciting change, because we meet new people all the time. It's been great. I started thinking about people and faces and different opportunities. But the thing I'm most excited about right now is our work with the faith-based community.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, one of the big questions that I've always had ever since as a child, why isn't the church the leader in fighting racism and oppression and poverty, like really leading, seeing things to do? And it was just a question that I've always had. And as we've gone through the journey, we don't force this anywhere. We don't force it. We just let it kind of come to us. We want to work with the willing. And we've had experiences with certain churches and denominations. We've had actually good representation over the course of our 5 years, but it never really caught fire like I thought it would in that, in that faith-based community. As Kamal mentioned, I went and spoke to 70 Catholic priests in Iowa one time, right? And that was an incredible experience. That's a whole other podcast for another hour. But
please come back for that one.
Yeah. But it was prosperous, and it was individually led. It was activism, and it put me in a space that, where it was a new ground to break, if you will. And so I've always been kind of intrigued with that. And just recently, we've been introduced to the Methodist Church in New England. And we're excited about speaking at their annual conference coming up. We've done some work with them over Zoom. And just opening up the eyes and opening up the ears and the hearts of some people that are naturally built for this. And I say, even literally in their religion, it talks about this is part of their foundation of their religion is anti-racism. And we've learned a lot from them, and hopefully they've learned from us. So I'm excited about that movement because I do believe on a couple levels, we know that this administration is going to attack and push back on education and make it hard for them to do things like this. And as hard as it may be, we recognize that. And so I believe it's almost a natural shift even for us to continue to do our work there. But this whole thing wasn't about just impacting athletes. That's not what this started as, right? This is about something for all of us. So I think it's a natural lead in that I feel like as we're being led into that space, working with some incredible people that are really committed to having the uncomfortable conversations, and being able to now say, what do we do with that? Because they're built like that. They're used to coming and hearing some level of methodology, as they told us, to what do we do to get better every day? And so we're excited about that. And as Kamal said, our flow slows down a little bit in the summertime. So we're excited about that conference in July being like a real big highlight for us, that we're going to really make sure we reach as many people as possible. So that would be my report on where it is. Like, I want to be hopeful that the work that we started doing in 2020, that now that the culture has shifted, it's not like, oh, well, that's over with. No, that's a new birth. Like, the people that really understand. Sometimes you have to see something right in front of you. And whether it was, George Floyd, that video, Derek Chauvin, whether it was the Derek Chauvin video, right? Or whether it's the Civil Rights Act being referred, like, so sometimes you got to see something that shakes you. So let's take that and let's keep moving. But I'm excited about that movement in that different space for me. Kamal might have a different one that he's thought of, but that's one for me that's been resonating, that's deep in my spirit.
No, I think just overall, I am excited about the faith-based movement as well, because as Kyle said, that, you think about all these different denominations and religions and what they're built upon and principles. And a lot of times the expectation is for them to stand up in the face of injustice. Right. And so and it will be great to see a lot of momentum in all areas. From that perspective. But for me, just changes or I think it's just been steady growth. It's been surprising to see some of the different institutions, museums. I mean, that's a unique space, but we are working in a unique place in regards to, you might not find how our museums, and spaces where maybe there's exclusion, and how do we get more inclusion? How do we get conversations to interrupt, or antiquated thinking or antiquated actions or harmful behavior or ignorance. And so the museum space has been, stay tuned. It's loading. It's been very unique. And we've had some great experiences with some institutions and some museums that are to have shaped our society and have impacted our society for generations. So I think that's probably the most unforeseen but exciting kind of new area that we're working in as well. Yeah.
I love that you all are going to these spaces.
Oh, wait, I forgot. Mm-hmm. Professional sports. We had an awesome experience with the Professional Women's Hockey League, the New York Sirens. I mean, it was phenomenal what they're doing for women in sports, what the Professional Women's Hockey League is doing. Being in that arena, just the energy there, seeing the families, the empowerment, in women in sports, and just that was exhilarating. Yeah, we'll have to send you some clips on that one.
Please do, and we will share them out to our listeners, because I think that is definitely, when we talk about sports, we sure need to show some love to women in sports, whether it be soccer or hockey or whatever it is. We can talk all day about equal pay and what's not happening in these arenas and just all the things. But that's cool. That's really, really dope. It's really neat. Kyle, let's pass it back over to you. And I know I've asked you this question, something similar on our last conversation, but really, let's look out like 5 years from now. What do you hope the impact of a long talk would be?
Wow. That's such a loaded question, because I wonder if a long talk does not have the impact we need it to have over the next 5 years, that's a different question on what I see in this nation right now. But without going too deep on your listeners, I'll just say that what I believe the answer to fixing the conversation, the culture, we believe the front lines of the war against ignorance are in the classroom. So what my overall hope would be that some magic bean would get dropped somewhere in Congress, and every child in America would be not mandatory, would have the opportunity to have this conversation from, you want to call it 6th grade and up, or whatever you want to call it, so that we can truly just re-educate our country. Or if at the minimum, the information that's in that Jeffrey Robinson video, we just show it to everybody in the country somehow. Public radio, public television, whatever. Have a special, have a Sunday. Remember those big Sunday specials? Do something to educate America. That was my hope for America. Now, we're nowhere near the culture or the climate to even expect anything to look like that to happen. So then my only hope then goes from, since the government won't do it, is how many people can, from the sound of my voice and beyond, can just decide that it's important for us to have honest conversations about the truth and what we can do. So my hope is the same as, I guess, as it started. That at some point we can become a normalizing structure in this country in terms of having conversations about race, because this country is absolutely illiterate. And it's only because of our ignorance, not because of our ability. It's like being mad at a 5-year-old for not being able to read when they just haven't been taught yet. So my hope for this country, my goal for us 5 years from now is that somehow, some way, the 80-minute video can go viral, that it activates people from all over, and that we're working in places that we can't even imagine right now. I hope that there are enough people like you and other people that use their power and their privilege and their platform to continue to spread this message and do the work. That's what I'm on the hope side.
And can I just add, one of the things that's important is we've gotten to where we are because people have facilitated introductions. And so doors have opened because individuals have said, you know what, this has been impactful. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's almost like when people saw Hamilton for the first time, they were seeing a lot of great Broadway plays, but they're like, this, oh my gosh. Well, that's how people are communicating their experience after going through a long talk. But it does take individuals to open doors. And like Kyle said, he hopes we're in places we never even thought of. And we have wound up into a lot of great places. But in order for us to reach a tipping point or to really, for America to live up to its promise, right? We have to accelerate the pace that we're moving at. These 5 years and the next 5 years, we have to grow exponentially. And that's going to take just someone sitting at a keyboard, hey, sending an email to a CEO, to a board chair, to a decision maker in an organization. Let's bring this conversation and let's do it now.
Yeah, it has to be, exactly. I mean, it has to be just something completely simple as just sending that email and getting some eyes on it, because as exhausted as many of us are only into the first few months of this year, I don't see it getting any better unless we start stepping in and stepping up and having conversations and doing the hard work and not ignoring it and just saying, well, in 4 more years, it'll be better. Well, that's not, it won't be. It won't be.
It's never worked that way.
It's never worked that way. No, ever. So I just, I don't want to take a lot of your time today. I just wanted to have you back to get that update, to get some eyes on the incredible, incredible work that A Long Talk is out there doing, and that the two of you put forth into the universe every day, and your energy and your passion and anything Served Up can do to help elevate and lift up that message. We're here for it. We're here for it. We're not scared to do the work.
Just because I know that you all, a lot of your listeners are in the spirits industry.
Yes.
That's an industry that we would love to work in. And we had a chance to work with the Cleveland Bar, was it a U.S. Cleveland Bar Associate Bar?
Yes, you worked with the Cleveland USBG, so the United States Bartenders Guild chapter, and that's a big chapter, and it's an important chapter, folks. For those who aren't hip to that, they're like one of our most celebrated chapters in the United States that are out there doing some incredible work. So it's not shocking that those are the ones that grabbed you.
Yes. Well, someone at Tales of the Cocktails, when we spoke there, referred us, and it just was a great experience. But we wanted to expand. I know there's other associations in other cities. If there's leaders who can hear our voice, we want to work with you. We want to work with spirits companies. We haven't worked with one spirits company to this date, and I know that I say yet because it just hasn't been the right email, the right introduction. But we know there are people out there who say, you know what? We want to have these types of conversations, but more importantly, we want this type of change, and we're not waiting on it. We the people. We the people. That's a very powerful, powerful statement. And we can build and change things, and we don't have to sit back and wait for change. And so that I just want to say that if there's anyone listening that has the ability to facilitate introduction, we would love to work across all 50 states. And also work with some spirits brands who are serious about change and want to do it now. Kyle, I'm sorry. I know.
Yeah, I just want to add this part because you reminded me when you talked about the spirits. We talked about our 21-day activation experience. Kamal talked about that, all that. 5 years from now, what I would like to see in this, specifically in the spirits industry, I would like to see CPR certified bartenders. What I mean by that is that we have some connection. We teach the CPR protocol in 90 minutes, and we just have follow-ups and practice with it. But imagine if I could walk into a bar anywhere in the world and know that the person serving drinks are certified and trained on interrupting if someone starts making problematic statements, whether it's offensive to women, whether it's offensive to immigrants, whatever. And they're taught a skill to keep the bar popping, but we're going to be a critical thinking bar because the bartender has a question, because I'm just getting to know you. And I'm wondering why, when you sat at my bar, you felt it was okay to say that thing about women. So I just have some questions, buddy, as a trained person on how to diffuse this conversation. Now I have a skill. And if I'm a person that wants to find a safe space to have a drink, I walk in, I might not be able to know what everybody at the bar is going to do. But if I see that a sticker somewhere that says CPR certified, and I know that means this person is perfectly trained to interrupt any type of ignorance, drunken or not, that might pop up, I believe that's something we could do in this space right here. You asked about like, what can we do right here in this space? If there's a way where we can partner with you and find out, and I'm saying partner, me, how do we do that? I have no idea. It's never been done before. So how do we do it? So I would love to get from your listeners or from you all, like, what's a game plan? That's my idea. Make a game plan. You all are in the industry. What needs to happen? What steps need to happen? And then let us support those steps with conversation material, appearances, whatever we have to do, trainings. That's a real life thing that we could do that would change the culture of these bars and stuff, right? So I have plenty of ideas, and I think it's just a matter of what we can do. When we spoke out there, or Kamal spoke at that, I mean, we spoke at that conference. When we spoke there, it was incredible. But we're an activation experience. The experience happened. I don't believe we got much activation out of that in terms of people that left there saying, I'm going to bring you here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that.
Right.
But and maybe that's just on our format, the way we built it. I don't know, but I would love to find out, how do we get it to move? Because yes, we could get with this chapter or that chapter. But if the hundreds of people that were there don't move from it, we're just doing appearances. Right.
Right.
I would love some feedback and some background. And every space is different. We figured out how to do that in athletics. We've worked with teams, work at every single student athlete at Yale and Penn. When we work in other spaces, every place is different. Their culture, their vibe, what the decision makers are. So, Bridget, I would love if that's something that you all can, point us in the right direction, introduce us to the right people, and then let's really understand your industry, because there are good people there. But we've been around it. We just haven't been able to ignite it. And that's partly on us trying to learn who you all are and what's going to move you. So I'm here for that work, even as much as for this hour podcast. So
I'm here for that work too.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to have a bigger conversation offline.
There it is. That's what I need. Perfect.
Because I'm going to tell you something. So, the spirit industry, let's just take it to the bar. Okay. That's one sector. It can be incredibly toxic.
Yeah.
It can be incredibly toxic for people that work there.
Yes.
And for the guests and some of the interactions. And a lot of times folks they don't have the words and they're scared that they're going to get fired. And there's a lot there.
Yes.
A lot of times I know, that they're afraid to use their voice for repercussions, right? Yeah. Or they don't know the right words to say because they don't want to lose this regular customer that's keeping the lights on. And so, yes, there's a lot of work to be done, but that's an environment can be rough, that needs you all, that needs, some care and attention. And we noticed, especially during lockdown, hospitality got hit really hard. Because it's not organized. It's not organized like sports. It's not organized like medicine, like any, medical. Let's just group that in, right? It doesn't have much, if any, legislation behind it historically to protect it. And so it's almost as if, everything works in a little silo. And there has to be a way to connect everyone and have a resource, right? To show that what you can do and to make things better in an environment that I know, as we are speaking, is happening right now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah.
I would love to work with you on that. Because when you say that, it's almost not fair to the server, to the bartender, to drop them in his environment, not give them any framework or structure, make them have to make decisions that are my personal livelihoods in jeopardy if I interact with this. All we're saying is that, and it causes what it causes. And all we're saying is, let's just it won't fix every problem, but it will at least give someone a protocol. When someone says this, my job is to intervene with questions and ask them, one, why they're saying it, why they think it's appropriate. Do they think it might impact other people at the bar? Do you care that it might impact other people at the bar? I just want to know who you are as a customer, because if I see that now it's getting worse after the second or third drink, that might help. You know what I'm saying? But it's a process versus,
right.
Yeah, I'm going to be the superhero tonight at the bar and no, I followed the protocol. That's where we got here. And if we all agree that's what I was supposed to do, I did my job.
Yeah.
It made me feel safer, because the main thing is people don't feel not just qualified. If you don't know how to do something, you won't do anything. And even if you try to do it, you can't do it with confidence.
Right.
So my intervention might make it worse if I'm not trained on how to intervene. So let's do that. So I'm with you 100%. Yeah.
You said the bar, that was one, but then also distributors. I don't know how the industry breaks down, but I'm sure there's multiple layers where
there is. Yes. I mean, and that's why I just pulled that just the bar. But then, yes, there's the distributors that has the salespeople, that has the managers, that's talking to these bars, right? And then the brands themselves with their portfolio. And then, the people that produce the brands, that sell the brands, that create the brands, have their own culture, their own environment. It's its own bubble is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward.
It's all connected in its own way.
I'm looking forward to that.
And it's not dependent upon legislation, or I believe that it has insulation, or it has this almost invisible force field, because it generates so much revenue, and it's so powerful that it's immune to what we're seeing on these grander level at 30,000 feet, if that makes sense. And we can really get in here and work strategic. But I know we'll talk offline, but we definitely are excited about this possibility for sure. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back to Kyle really quick. Do you have any last words just for today? Because you're going to come back. So do you have any last words for the listeners that you want them to take away from our conversation today?
I'll just say that, hopefully people are just aware of what's going on in our country right now. We're talking about a very specific movement that we're building with a long talk. But whether your connection to this, to our country right now is in an active experience like this, or just being able to be aware of what's going on, it's important for everybody to not take our time in history lightly. Like, we are living history right now. How we respond right now in this country is not a small thing. Like, whether you believe on one side of this or the other side, or how far you want to go down rabbit holes, there's a lot going on that are happening right in front of us. So I would just say, believe what you see, right? And what I mean is, when people do things and say things, take them for who they are. And then whatever that means to you, whatever that inspires you to do differently, everyone has to do something, right? And because I just want people to kind of recognize that we live in times where there's momentum that's been pushing our country backwards for a long time. And right now it's in the driver's seat. Like, there were times over as my 50 years of being here where they've kind of been trying to push it and push it and push us in one way. There's a driver's seat mentality for us going backwards in this country. That's why you revoked the Civil Rights Act. That's why you started erasing Black people and women and gay people from websites, because we're gonna just act like that didn't happen. Because during this time when America progressed to become more inclusive of everybody, that's a threat to people and to systems and things that want to get us stuck. So I want people, you can choose to ignore it now. You can continue if it doesn't necessarily affect you. But we're living in history right now. When we look back on how people were responsive to other regimes and other totalitarianism, we say, well, why didn't the people do anything? That's what it's going to look like 50 years from now, the time we're in right now. So my biggest thing that I wake up every day saying and close my day is that if the good people don't see it for what it is and move in a different direction, then we have no shot. Because the people that are attaching themselves to this directional movement, thinking it's better for the country for us to have less people that come from other countries and less people that, look different than a certain type, that people that believe this is a certain type of nation only for a certain type of people, they have momentum right now. And they have leadership. They have information that guides them. They have they have immunity in many ways. And if we don't stand up right now as the people of this country, Kamal always calls us a hodgepodge of do-gooders. And if the do-gooders do nothing right now, then where we are, it won't matter how many times I get on the Zoom call people, where we're going to be as a nation 5 years from now is going to be a totally different space that people are going to only like, well, I wish. So I'm not an alarmist because I've been feeling like this for 50 years. So this is not an alarm bell for me that's finally going off. It's that now other people are finally hearing it because people have been hitting snooze on this alarm bell for a long time. So if I leave with anything, it's just that people just need to kind of don't live in the oblivion of it anymore. Like recognize it for what it is and then just make a decision. If you're cool with it, I just want you to understand what you're agreeing to and where it's going and what's going to happen. So there's no more, I didn't know he was going to do that on day one. We got to get past. Now that that's been done, I need everyone to get past the I didn't know and just make a decision. And it's okay to say, you know what, I still agree with him. Thank you for saying that part out loud. But let's get out of the middle and let's make some decisions to decide which way this country is going to go, because this is a pivotal moment in history. So, yeah, I agree. Kamal, do you want to add to that?
No, I think the biggest thing that I could say just in closing is to take action, action over observation. And it's not rocket science. Like it's really not, just like you said, even with your daughter, just say something. And I love that advice because, Bridget, there's a lot of people in this country who lack the courage to step up and to interrupt. And so I love that your household, you all are building a culture where the expectation is, no, this is, we're not going to stand by silently. And so imagine if you extrapolate that to 300 million Americans or 150, just half the, whatever what if we have 100 million people in this country who are interrupting problematic behavior and statements? Like, how far could we go? And what type of change could we evoke if we just had 1 million? Like, so the numbers are in our favor. We just need the people who are on the sidelines to get active and choose action over observation. I mean, I don't know. That's all I got. I mean, and it's not hard. And what happens if you mess it up 10 times and get it right the 11th time? I didn't say the right thing. I should have said this, or just keep going. Just keep going, right? If we keep going, if it just becomes a habit and people learn that I'm not going to sit next to you at lunch because you always check, you have a way of just clearing the space and interrupting these problematic behavior. Like, I'm going to go over here where people laugh at the jokes. No, we're going to build these bubbles of anti-racism and these bubbles that this spirit is just not welcome. And this energy, this negative energy is just not over here. Not near my family, not near our soccer team, not near my bar, not near if I'm a distributor, not if I'm in sales. Like, we're not going to have these comments. And we do need people to stand up who are not the ones on the receiving end. If it's the guys all around, it's a few women and someone makes a sexist joke, we need some of the men to stand up. If it's one or two people in the queer community and you have all straight people around, where are the other straight people? We have to build these disruptors. And the way we do it is action over observation. Progress over perfection. We don't have to be perfect at this. It's not rocket science. Amen to that. I just want to thank you both for coming back on Served Up and giving us an update. I do hope you'll come back on again and give us another update. And with that, I want to wish you both, just some great health and a lot of peace. And thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you. Thank you for the great work you're doing, and your voice is just, it's not just a microphone. It's healing and it is what we need now, is what we needed then. And so we're honored to have you invite us back, and we'll show up as many times as you invite us back. So looking forward to seeing you soon and working together. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Served Up is brought to you by Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits. Produced by Zunu.online. Music by We Killed the Lion can be found on Spotify. Make sure to subscribe to be notified of our future Served Up episodes. Cheers.